There's a new album, there's a new single, there's a tour, there's a whole lot to talk about. We got Brent Smith of Shinedown joining us right now on the Styles Cast. Welcome aboard.
Going down, my man. What's happening?
Hey, there you are. I got your audio in there for a second. You walked away from the camera as I was doing the intro. I'm like, uh-oh, we're about to go. And he's like about to go do something. I caught him off guard.
No. It's so funny, man, because I've been doing interviews, today, but I've been looking the most forward to this one. And I'm in a hotel where they decided that they were going to do an alarm system check and not tell anybody in the hotel the night before. So like the first two interviews I did, I'm having to go outside, inside, because they're like doing the announcements and stuff like that. I'm like, of course they would do it today. But I think they're done. So we're good to go. How you been, man?
I've been great, man. How about yourself? I know it's been about a year since you and I have talked. It's been busy for you between Smith and Myers, finishing up this record, which I want to talk about Planet Zero here in just a second. But in general, how you been?
I've been good, man. It's a very ambitious schedule that we're getting ready to present to ourselves and to the rest of the world, but everything's good. A lot of behind the scenes going on right now, just getting ready for tour, getting ready for, the launch of the album and everything that's happening. You would think, we've done this a few times, but every single time we try to never make the same record. We try to never write the same song over and over again, try to never make the same record twice. And this one in particular, it's just been a roller coaster ride already, but we're ready for the launch now, man. It's time.
And definitely is. Planet Zero out today, the single, the album coming out in April. Before we talk more about that, you talk about the cycle. I want to bring something up real quick here on the screen, and that is something you shared last week. This video of all your outtakes from getting ready and doing tour promos. Is this typically a thing that happens for you guys as you start to run down these show promos and things like that? Just sitting around going, "Oh, we got to get through this," but oh, wait a minute, I messed that up. I messed this up.
So the thing about us is that we laugh a lot. Like for a band that is very much dealing with a lot of heavy subject matter and things of that nature, you can't be serious all the time. We actually take it very seriously, especially with the promotion and all the people from a global standpoint that promote this band, that have been there from day one, even if they're just kind of finding out about the band and what have you. So we take all that promo stuff very, very seriously. But yeah, it was something where we just did a big bulk of them. I think we did, it was close to 126 different liners, show things and what have you. And when you do that in one day, 2 hours into it, your brain starts to get a little funky. You know what I mean? And then you just start missing cues or this and that. A lot of times when we'll do promo, it'll just be me or it'll be me and Zach. So it's always way more fun when it's the four of us because just, dumbassery ensues, and it's got to be fun, man. So we'll mess up and stuff like that. But Sanjay, who is our videographer, who is just the master at everything, he put that together super, super quick. And normally, like, the shows will be out, the promotion's done, and then you'll show the bloopers later on. We're like, we might as well just show this now, just to let everybody see what it's really like.
Indeed, it was a lot of fun to watch. I was watching that just before you and I sat down. If there's one thing Shinedown doesn't do half-heartedly, that is promotion. Everything with the teasers and the phone number as well leading up to the drop. It's been a lot of fun to witness all this. The album called Planet Zero, the title track out today. It's a straight rocker. As far as the album itself, what can fans expect? I mean, the typical Shinedown mix in terms of sounds and styles of songs, ballads, and whatever have you.
So we were really, really specific on this record. I mean, one thing that we did was, so in 2020, I left California. I was quarantined for 28 weeks. We were working on, we developed this amazing relationship with the organization Direct Relief with the Atlas Falls campaign, which raised $500,000 and is still counting for COVID-19 relief. But by July of 2020, I was like, I've got to go. I've got to get, out of Cali and back with my band, my son, who was in Florida. So we arrived, myself and Eric, in Kiowa Island in South Carolina. And so as we're writing everything, we're starting to kind of get through, the first thing that we did when we sat down with one another, because we all four write together and what have you, but it was me and Eric starting off, and our idea was like, do we write like a crystal ball in a way? Like, do we write like, let's write 3 years after this? Like, it's not going to be like this forever. Here we are in year 3. So we had to make a conscious decision to write about what was going on, write about what we know, write about what's real, because if there's any word that describes Shinedown, I think that it would be honest, would be the main word. A lot of that has to do with the fan base. So we're constantly thinking about them. But sonically, yeah, as we were writing everything, and the other thing too is by right around October, we realized too that we weren't going to be able to go into a studio to record. So we were just in Eric's home studio at his house. And on the last album, Attention, Attention, Eric had a commercial studio, but he sold it after we finished Attention, Attention. So me and Eric looked at each other in October of 2020 and said, we're just gonna build a studio. And so proceeded to spend 18 weeks and built a studio from the ground up on his property. And so we did that in combination with everything. But as far as sonically on this record, everything is pushed to the front, meaning we're known for making records that are very kind of cinematic, a lot of layers, a lot of instrumentation. What we did with this, and there's still, it's drums, bass, guitar, it's piano, there is orchestration, there are synthesizers on certain things, there are sound effects, there's a lot of depth to it. The difference is this, it's not stacked. And what I mean by that is it's not layers upon layers of vocals. It's not tons of guitar tracks. It's not all these things that you would normally kind of think that we would go in there and we would do, because we've had a lot of teachers over the years, engineers, male and female producers and what have you. So what Eric decided to do, because Eric is also the producer of Planet Zero, he's also the main engineer, and he also mixed the album.
What doesn't Eric do is the question.
What's that now?
What does Eric not do is the question.
The last thing Eric is a bass player, like literally. We all are just, myself and Zach and Barry are always in awe of him because he's just on a different level. But he was like, I don't want to saturate anything. I don't want to use a lot of verbs. I don't want to use a lot of one thing with the vocals too, he pushed me way up front and did not use a lot of effects on me. A lot of the vocals on the album are dry, actually. Also too, with the guitar tones and a lot of the instrumentation in the background, like none of the drums are reinforced, as far as like there's no drum samples. Like the drums you hear are the drums that Barry played in the room that he played. We also recorded drums outside too, which was really fun.
That's what I wanted to ask about too, was the drumming outside. One, what presented that? And two, what did it do to kind of help with the recording sound?
It does a very unique thing if you know what you're doing. If you go outside, you have all of these ambient mics and everything. It's going to pick up everything. Now, granted, you're playing drums, so there's a lot of sound going in there. This would be more of a question for Eric, but we brought our good friend Doug McKean in as a secondary engineer on this record as well. Doug McKean engineered the Sound of Madness album. He engineered the Amaryllis record, and he also was a second engineer on Attention, Attention, and on this new record, second engineer. So Doug knew how to do it. And I think part of it was vibe for Barry. And part of it was to see, well, let's see what it sounds like. And the interesting thing is that it actually allowed for a natural compression that you didn't have to like go in and start using, a bunch of Avalon compressors or, Rupert Neve compressors, APIs, standard things that you would use, to limit certain things, pull gates out. It kind of naturally did that. And there's a song on the album called Hope. And that's like the main song that Barry played the drums outside, and it just gives it this different thing. And Hope is like a 2-part song in a way. Like it starts off and you're like, oh, this is cool, and And then all of a sudden, when it hits the bridge, it just rockets you into this other kind of, it's kind of like the other step of the song, the other phase of the song. But yeah, I mean, back to just sonically too, man, a more aggressive record, by really focusing on the musicianship, definitely a harder record to play, especially in the guitars. Eric really pushed Zach really hard, and Zach showed up, man. He did. But that's the beautiful thing about it, not getting complacent. Like, and having a producer that's also in the band, you would think like that could have some tension, and it's the complete opposite. Because Zach has such a respect for Eric as a player, and Eric wanted him to, basically lock in and really push himself, see how far he could go. And Zach ended up playing a lot of stuff on this record that maybe he was like, I don't know if I can do that. And he did do it, and he did it amazingly.
I was going to ask too about, this is Eric's second record.
Yeah.
Obviously, typically, there are times when bands go in, it's a self-produced record. It can almost be a curse because they're allowed to do what they want. You broke that last round because you had 4 number ones off the record. It went gold. You come back, you do it again.
It's almost platinum, I just found out, which is crazy.
Dude, that's insane. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So you come back in with Eric. Is there anything different now in Eric for him in that role, though, as he walks in and presents himself as the producer? Does it change a little bit for him? Does he feel a little more comfortable producing the band?
Man, he was so comfortable on Attention. And so to answer your question about this record, no, it didn't really change like his demeanor of things. That's kind of unspoken in a lot of ways. Like, he's in the band, but we don't look at him like, okay, here comes the producer.
Okay.
It's just Eric, because we have such an immense amount of respect for him, and, we love him, so, and that's part of being a band, is also understanding that too. We're still the same band 20 years into this, where ride the same bus still, have the same dressing room, ride the same plane, stay in the same hotels, because we genuinely like being around one another. But in the studio, his biggest thing is more on himself, but he doesn't show that. He's kind of introverted when it comes to those types of things. So like inside of him, he's got a lot of checks and balances that he's going through every day that maybe you wouldn't necessarily see because he doesn't like show it. He exudes positivity. He exudes confidence in the players and the performance. Like, he doesn't subscribe to the drill sergeant thing or like self-deprecating like musicians. He actually really despises that kind of behavior in a studio. Like when a producer is trying to be aggressive to someone to like and kind of punch down on them. He's not a fan of that. Even when you're trying to get someone to play the most intricate thing or the heaviest thing or whatever, he's not going to be, if you are missing the lick or you're not kind of getting the hit right or something like that, he's not going to be like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Just freaking do it. He's not like that. He will, he's very zen in his approach, never yells, very, very locked in. Mm-hmm. And I think that internally, he's probably going through a lot of different things because he's got a lot of checks and balances. A lot of times for Eric, his whole way of looking at it is that why he decided and why it was time for him to become the producer of the albums with Shinedown was because he was ready. And he had a good point about that too on the last album. He goes, I would rather go crazy making the record rather than watch someone else go crazy trying to make the record. Because like Eric knows what he wants. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Understood completely.
So it's a good environment. It's not it's actually a very light, fun environment. When it's time to record, we're recording, but we bust each other's balls a lot and there's a lot of laughs.
And as evident by what the videos were shown and
yes,
that what you have of just up and down on the things you guys shown from your social media of being in the studio and the fun that you had there.
The other thing about Eric is that he doesn't sleep. do not see him sleep, like ever.
Every time you're around the studio, he's there in some capacity doing
18
something.
hours a day, man. He eats, breathes, lives, bleeds music and songs and sound, and it's a part of his being.
Well, it obviously shows in the new track. We'll hear the new album in April. Planet Zero, both the title of the song and the album. Now, Attention Attention was a concept record that ended with a feature film to bring it all together.
Yeah,
The name Planet Zero to me lends itself to maybe there's a concept or an overarching theme in it. Am I correct
there
or
is.
wrong on that? Okay.
Yeah, we, for the band that did not set out to do a concept record, did probably created the most conceptual record of the last 10 years. At least in modern rock.
Okay.
You know? No, man, it's one of those things too. Also, where we're not gonna do what we did before. The whole thing about attention was that the goal was always to show that feature film, but we knew we weren't going to be able to do it ahead of time before the record came out. We were going to have to kind of bring things out as they came, and we also kind of Pulp Fictioned everything a little bit with the audience, how certain things came about.
Right.
This record is very visual, but it's a different type of conceptual piece also. It's a different journey all the way around. It's a lot more aggressive too. But that's the fun of it, man. We'll see where it goes. We're in the midst right now. We've had to go back and forth multiple times with the video director for the song Planet Zero, which is a gentleman by the name of Charles de Meyer from Belgium. And he flew to Los Angeles, and we were just trying to get everything ready where we were going to be filming this and what have you. We had some hiccups happen along the way. And the interesting thing is that we play Los Angeles on the 28th. Obviously the single 26, play San Francisco tonight. And then we have a day off tomorrow, go back to Los Angeles. And on our day off, we shoot the Planet Zero music video. So it's just been a little whirlwind everywhere.
Speaking of the shows and stuff, I would assume that Planet Zero, the song, is being incorporated into the sets from the get-go. Now that tonight you have San Francisco and you're going to roll, I assume, the song out on tonight.
San Francisco gets it live for the first time.
All right. And then as we get closer to the album, are you going to put more in? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, because some bands are like, we're not going to put the new songs in just yet because people aren't used to them or what have you until about 6 months.
I remember on Attention, the day, because we all know that May 4th is also, May the 4th be with you, but May 4th is also National Attention Day, because that's when the record came out. And we played Carolina Rebellion in 2018 when that record came out on May 4th. And I remember that day because the record came out and it was just a sea of yellow albums because obviously we had all the vinyl there and stuff like that, yellow with the black exclamation point. It was just a sea of that. But we ended up playing that night. We played 4 brand new songs off the record that night. And I swear to you, man, it was like they already knew the words. It was really wild. It was super, super cool. So no, man, we have Planet Zero is our 28th single that we've released as a band. And so we know we have a catalog that people want to hear. So you just kind of learn how to build out the set list and what have you. But yeah, man, any band, any artist that's got brand new music, you want to play it. You do it selectively. But yeah, man, as we get rolling, we get closer to April 22nd, which is the release date of the album. Pre-orders are up right now, and what have you. It's on every single streaming platform. And also you can get it, pre-orders for the vinyl, CDs, the whole nine's out. But yeah, as it gets closer, you want to start seeing how people feel about the new stuff. You got to test stuff out too to see how they react.
You mentioned those singles. You have, I think it is 16 #1s on the Billboard chart, on the Billboard rock chart. You're in the lead right now. I think 3 Days Grace is catching up. You two go back and forth. I assume there's got to be like a friendly rivalry now at this point.
I absolutely adore that band and every single one of those guys, man. We have a great relationship, a mutual respect for each other. And love being toe to toe with such a great band and such a great group of guys.
With that being said, of the record that you have there, because you're up top on having the most singles, looking back now, 20 years of the band, Planet Zero being the 7th record, is there anything yet that you haven't accomplished that maybe you want to with this album?
If I'm being honest,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to finally see this Shinedown record debut at #1 on Billboard as
number one album sales.
#1 album the first week. That, for me personally, that would be something that I would love to see. And not just, here in the US, but in multiple countries. And, I say that because why not be truthful about that? As a little boy and growing up in music and seeing all those, I still look at charts. I still am enamored by it. I'm still the guy that buys records and like opens it up and like reads all the lyrics from all kinds of music, all walks of life. I love looking and seeing like, where did they record it? Who recorded it? What, who played on what, who wrote what, but for us, we have such a deep respect for people like yourself and the fan base and the people that have been there with us from day one and have promoted this band and have championed this band. It becomes your #1 also. And for us, looking at that, the fan base means so much to us. And I know that's something that they want to see happen on this album. And I know they're going to do everything in their power to make it happen. But at the end of the day, would that be something awesome? Absolutely. Do I rest my hat on it? Not at all. Because at the end of the day, our whole outlook is the public and the fan base. I've often said we have one boss. It just happens to be everybody in the audience. So we just want to make them proud more than anything. But yeah, man, debuting this record at #1 would be awesome.
All right, April 22nd, Planet Zero coming out. I want to shift real quickly before I wrap up to the tour. We've got April 6th at the Peoria Civic Center. I think that's right. Yeah. April 6th, Peoria Civic Center. You guys are going to be there. April 9th, excuse me.
And I expect everybody to lose their minds because I'm going to. Because Peoria is that town that, like, it's like a rocket ship like every time we have ever been there, every time we have come into Peoria, the shows are just absolutely extraordinary. So we're very excited to play.
And this is the Revolutions live tour. And back when it got announced, I have to ask this because Zach posted about it, saying that the stage show is the most ambitious you have done yet. And
he's trying to break the bank. This is what he's trying to do.
Okay.
I just saw the newest updated spreadsheets on it, like looking at it, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm just, don't get me wrong, it's incredible, but I'm just like, he's just trying to. The stage show with him, man, is a big deal.
I was going to say, wait a minute. I thought it was big with you because it's
big with both of us.
Okay.
But like, I'm the one that, like, when I'm the one that gets the number, you know what I mean? And then it's just like, oh my God.
When I heard ambitious, I said that to my wife, and she's like, "Are we getting Cirque du Soleil on this tour or what? What's going on?"
Close.
Right.
If I dare say, maybe even a little bigger.
All right. Well, I look forward to April 9th for that one. The tickets are on sale April 22nd.
And the biggest thing about that tour also, man, we're just super stoked to have Diamante and finally to be able to have the Pretty Reckless out with us. We've been trying to make that work for a number of years now. So we're massively excited to have the Pretty Reckless and Diamante on.
And it was right there that we ended up having our signal or communication, if you will, with Brent disrupted. His lighting guy was communicating with him about this evening's show in San Francisco. So I think we got enough about everything going on in the world of Shinedown from Planet Zero, the album, the title track, which, by the way, is out now. It's out today. And then you also have got the tour coming up, which will be in Peoria at the Peoria Civic Center in April. Get your tickets for the show. Go check out the new single, pre-save the album, all of it. Thank you to Brent Smith for coming on, being a part of this, and chatting about everything going on in their world. I'm Wes Styles, at Wes Styles Radio on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Stylescast.com for all interviews. And we'll see you next time. Hit that subscribe button. All right.